Hey everybody, I am here with Darcee. I'm so excited for you guys to meet her. Darcee is coming all the way from California. I guess I say all the way because I am on the opposite side. I'm in Maryland. So it's like 30 degrees here and it's what, like 80 degrees where you are?
Yeah, probably.
um, but anyway, we're gonna dive in and Darcee's gonna introduce herself, and she's also working in the online space. So she's gonna explain like what her reason was to get started and share a little bit about her story. So if you want to go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, so a little background of me. I've done a lot of traveling. I've worked abroad for a couple of years after I graduated college. I came back to the US like right as the pandemic hit, and I didn't have a job, didn't, like everybody was in quarantine. So I didn't know exactly what to do with my time. And I also kind of felt like I didn't have too much of a purpose at that point in my life. Um, so I started up before this online space, I started up my art business, which since then is kind of like taken off, and I'm now painting for businesses, which is really cool. But yeah, so I started that up, and I thought it was great, and then realized I was like, this is super cool, like being my own boss. I loved it, calling all the shots. But I wanted some form of income that could run for me, like while I wasn't working. So, like with my art, every time I get hired to paint a mural, it's super fun and I love it, but I'm always trading my time for money. So then I got into the online space kind of to continue being my own boss, but to utilize technology in a way that I just couldn't do with my art. So yeah, and then I found this platform, and yeah, that's how and so thus far I've been working online and painting my murals, and it's been like a really cool combination. Oh, and then my why, asked my why. Really just to continue being my own boss, because I like the freedoms behind it. Like I don't enjoy asking other people like how I can spend my time. So I really like that I have the ability to kind of create my schedule each day. And yeah, that was my biggest why, to find more freedom in my life, I'd say.
Awesome. I love that. I always love seeing your, following along with your art business. That's so cool that you were able to like tie them together. So you're like doing both your own boss. So you're like you have that equal balance. That's really cool. So also I want to mention if our connection spotty, just bear with us because Darcee's having a little bit of connection problems, and I always am because in the country, like Wi-Fi is terrible. So if anything cuts out, just bear with us. But moving forward, I guess I wanted to kind of touch on what were some of your fears when you got started working online? Because if you're anything like me, I was like super hesitant and I was like, I don't know if this is for me. I don't know if it's real. Like, so what were some of your fears and how would you say you overcame them?
Um, yeah, I totally agree with what you just said. I think the biggest fear for me was, and this is something I feel like we work out, but like, what are people gonna think? Like I was like, oh, people are gonna be like, oh man, like what did Darcee fall for? Or oh, like now she's gonna be annoying and she's gonna be like this overbearing salesperson, or like all these like stereotypes of like selling products, or like even like working online. There's a lot of stigma behind like scammers and hackers and stuff like that, and those do exist, for sure. But there's also like some really cool legitimate out there. So I was really afraid of like people kind of thinking like, oh my gosh, like what did she get herself into? um but really, to overcome that, like I relied, especially in the beginning, I relied heavily on the other people like that I've learned from, like within our community and stuff, who are working at the same thing, who have created success. I really relied on those people, and I was like, you know what, if they can do it and this is real, like I can do it too. And and that really helped get me through it. And I'm a lot more confident today with what I'm doing than I was at the very beginning. So that's good. In time it gets better.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like in the beginning, I like had this like waiting period where I was just like watching my coach and I was like, I like want her life, but like I don't think I can, or I don't know if I can. And it's like like you said, there's always a part of you that's worried about it being a scam or not being real. Like those are all real life things, that go through our head. But I also struggled with worrying about what people would think and being judged because like I've always been that way. But for me it just came down to, what, like it's my life. I don't want to be working full time for the rest of my life just to pay someone else's bills. Like, who cares about what people think? Like it's my life. So that's so true, but it's
Yeah.
something that we all struggle with, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So, just going through my questions. So, I guess the next question I wanted to ask would be, what would you say your favorite thing about this business has been so far?
For me personally, are the people that I've met, like the connections that I've made, like Carly and a whole bunch of other people. I feel like one for support because we're kind of, like we're out there trying to create something. And you really have to believe in the process, especially as you're getting started. So yeah, for support. And then as well, like it made me feel less lonely. Like sometimes I look at the people in my life that I love, but they're maybe like they're going to work each day and they hate it, or like they just don't have this concept of you can create something bigger, and like this just like refusal to like go to this 9 to 5 until you're 60 or 70 years old. And they're living their life that way. So then like when I go and express myself and I'm like, I don't want to live like that, like sometimes they don't fully get it. It can make you feel a little bit lonely, like going against the grain in that way. And so I feel like within this community, I've really felt like more understood, Does that make sense?
Yeah, I like how you explained that because that's so true. And for me, it's like when I got started, I really had no idea like how big the community was and like the endless like support, like you had said. I just thought like I was gonna, I'm sorry if you feel my cats are like fighting, I swear it never ends. So if you hear them screaming, I swear like nobody's killing each other. Nobody's killing another one. But yeah, I was saying, I thought that like I was just starting a business to get like time and financial freedom. Like I did, like I knew I would have my coach, but I didn't know I'd have like everything else that's been tied together. So for me, it was just amazing to know that you have that support. And, like you had said, like other people that aren't going through it and building a business, they don't like fully understand. So to have that, support to be able to ask questions and have them there and they're going through the same thing is like super helpful.
Hmm. Yep, totally agree.
So, I also wanted to ask, I think we kind of answered one of my other questions. Um, I guess I'll just jump to my last question. And I just wanted to ask if you could give someone that's on the fence advice about, jumping in and getting started, what would you tell them? Or I guess what would your best advice be?
Well, first off, obviously, go for it. I'm a firm believer that if something is just like it's pulling at you, if that makes sense, you're like, I don't know why I'm attracted to this thing, but I am. I'm a firm believer to just like go with that gut feeling. And if you're sitting there going like, oh, I'm a little bit nervous, like, but something is pulling me towards it, just go for it. Like, because everything that's holding you back, like ultimately 90% probably of what's holding you back is just your mindset. And that can be overcome, and like you take the first step and you get a little bit more confident. And then you take the second step and you get a little bit more confident. And so, like, really just following through like one step at a time.
Yeah, I like the way you had said that because it's so true. I mean, like for me, I was like I had found out about it, I heard about it, and then like I just kept like every single day I kept just like thinking about it. It was like weighing on me. And I was like, at some point I was like, all right, like I have to like do something because like I obviously want it bad enough, but like I'm scared. So yeah, definitely, go with your gut. And I love how you had said like take one step at a time, because it's so true. Like if I think back like a year ago, like looking back at where I was and where I am today, I can just see like such a difference in myself. And mindset is so big with anything. And that was like a huge asset to my business, is working on my mindset. So that's been super helpful too.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you hopping on and sharing some advice and sharing your story. That was great. Hopefully, everyone watching could benefit from it. And like always, if you have any questions, just reach out. I'd be happy to chat. But we're going to hop off. And thank you, Darcee, for hopping on today.
Thank you, Carly.
All right. See you guys.